Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session and a regular meeting on Tuesday, November 19th, 2013, at 5:45 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of Brownsville City Hall, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session item A, consultation with attorney pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code in connection with the litigation and appeal in the case styled and numbered Marco Longoria and the Brownsville Firefighters Association versus City of Brownsville, Texas, cause number C-26-11-J. On appeal, City of Brownsville, Texas versus Marco Longoria and the Brownsville Firefighters Association, appellate cause number 13-12-00224-CV in 13th Court of Appeals in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Motion to move to executive session.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy. We thank you for the many blessings that we have in this country, the state, and the city. Lord, we ask you to be with those that have been devastated in the Philippines by such a terrible storm, those in the plane crash in Russia, and Lord, those that have had their own personal catastrophes. Lord, we ask you to lead and guide our leaders here tonight to make the decisions that are best for the city of Brownsville, that will honor you in all we do. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Action item A, action to proceed as advised by legal counsel in executive session.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that to advise legal counsel to continue as advised. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Mayor is not available for a report. Commissioners?
Any commissioner reports? I just wanted to thank everybody that turned out for the Veterans Parade. It was a wonderful turnout. It's the biggest one we've had in 14 years. And we continue, and we've already started planning for next year's. And it's going to continue to be a wonderful event, but just to remind everybody that, you know, we don't remember our veterans just on Veterans and Memorial Day. We need to remember them all year long. So thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Proclamations. National Hunger and Homeless Week.
Somebody here receive it? Thank you for being here. The following is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, declaring November 2013 to be Homeless and Hunger Awareness Month in our city. And whereas for the past several years, the National Coalition for the Homeless and National Student Campaign Against Hunger and Homelessness have sponsored National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Month. And whereas the purpose of the proclamation is to educate the public about the many reasons people are hungry and homeless, including the shortage of affordable housing in Brownsville, Texas, for very low-income residents, and to encourage support for homeless assistance service providers, as well as community service opportunities for students and school service organizations. And whereas there are many organizations committed to sheltering, providing support services, as well as meals and food supplies to the homeless, including healthcare, education, employment activities, literacy, drug awareness activities, counseling, and many other services. And whereas the theme of National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Month 2013 is Bringing America Home. And whereas the Brownsville City Commission recognizes that hunger and homelessness continues to be a serious problem for many individuals and families in Brownsville, Texas. And whereas the intent of National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Month is consistent with the activities of Bishop Enrique San Pedro Asanam Center, Good Neighbor Settlement House, Friendship of Women, Brownsville Independent School District, University of Texas at Brownsville, Catholic Charities, RGV Food Bank, United Way of Southern Cameron County, Brownsville Literacy Center, Area Agency on Aging, Tropical Texas Behavioral Health, Valley AIDS Council, Workforce Solutions of Cameron, Brownsville Community Health Clinic, and VA Texas Valley Coastal Bend Health Systems. And whereas the homeless prevention programs serve our community to address the immediate needs of homeless individuals and families. And now therefore we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby declare November 2013 to be Homeless and Hunger Awareness Month in our city, and further encourage all our citizens to become aware of the plight faced by the homeless and hungry among us. And it's done this 19th day of November 2013. Signed, Antonio Martinez, Mayor, and the City Commission. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Let me ask for your indulgence, please. My name is Abel Morales. I'm the chairperson of the Cameron County Homeless Partnership, and I'd just like for the members that are here, the ones that do the daily operations of working with the homeless, and those at risk, if, I asked them if they could please just mention their name and the organization they're with. Thank you.
Victor with the Brownsville Literacy Center. Thank you for your support.
Good evening. I'm Ms. Lucia Hernandez. I'm from the O&M Center.
Good evening. My name is Rosemary Garza. I'm with the O&M Center.
Good evening. Daisy Lopez with Friendship of Women. Thank you for your support.
Good evening. My name is Julia Lash, and I work with the City of Brownsville, the Office of Grant Management and Community Development. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ana Rodriguez. I'm with Catholic Charities Rio Grande Valley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 5, consent agenda items A and B.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item 4.
I'm sorry. Item 4, Employee of the Month, Mr. Charlie Kepler.
Commissioners, we're going to do something unique today. Our Employee of the Month is Mr. Jose de la Garza. He's employed at the City of Brownsville with the building department. He was a building and permitting supervisor. He's worked with us since August of 1995. He was selected Employee of the Month for this month, November. However, he has become ill, and he cannot be present with us today. He has chosen to retire. He will be missed. He has certifications that are very valuable to the city. Plumbing inspection license, which is my understanding very hard to obtain, master electrical inspector, and various certifications from the city. He was with us at one of the directors meetings, and from there, after he did some presentations, we felt he was a good candidate for this position. Unfortunately, he has become ill, like I noted, and he has chosen, shortly before he became ill, he had decided he was going to retire. We want to honor him with the Employee of the Month award and take the plaque, the watch, and the pin to him at his home. And we'll miss him, and we wish him God's speedy recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Item number 5, consent agenda, items A and B.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint 2 members to the Brownsville Citizens Advisory Committee.
Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, I want to introduce Evelyn Cantu. She is our chair for the Brownsville Citizens Advisory Committee.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Commissioners. According to the Brownsville Citizens Advisory Committee Ordinance Section 310-30, it reads, if a member is absent for 3 consecutive meetings or 3 consecutive unexcused absences, it is the chair's responsibility to notify the City Commission. So with this addressed, Laura Martinez and Rodney Gomez are no longer serving in this committee.
So with that, we have 2 vacancies. And I just want to make a note that David Bellperch, when this agenda item went to City Commission, he was also up for the airport, and he was appointed to sit on the airport committee. So that made him ineligible because he now sits on the beautification committee as well as the airport. So we have Mary Helen Flores, Martin Sarkis, and Omar Garcia.
I'd like to make a motion. Oh, sorry. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mary Helen Flores.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd ask that Ms. Martinez was recommended, but I do have somebody that's interested in serving. So if you'd give me to the first meeting in December, I'll have a viable candidate that will apply, turn in the application, and be ready for the first meeting.
For the second vacancy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Stephanie.
I didn't mean to be that loud.
Item 7, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2013-971-F to amend Chapter 10, Animal Regulation and Care, Article 3, Care and Control, by replacing Section 10-1063, Animals Not Permitted, with Section 10-1063, Space and Distance Requirements, and adding Section 10-1065, Livestock Running at Large, and dealing with related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the commission, when we overhauled the animal control ordinance, we made a mistake, and we didn't account for the fact that there are folks living on farms essentially inside the city limits, and this will correct that situation so that it's permissible to, goes back to the way the ordinance used to read, so it will be permissible to have horses and cows and whatnot under certain specified circumstances. You got to have so much land per animal and so forth, so that we won't have folks in some of the new subdivisions with horses and cows, but they'll be left to the farms and the ranches that are inside the city limits.
John, I have a question. Does this ordinance amendment also address the issue of the animal sales at the flea market?
No, it does not.
It does not?
No.
Okay, because I got a lot of calls.
Yeah, and I'll be glad to visit with you on that.
Okay.
Mr. Chosey, one of my concerns that I had was, and you'll understand because of the area that I represent and the area that Commissioner represents, I saw a discrepancy on Section B that was making the residential move from 50 to 100 feet. The original ordinance, in essence, 1063B, read that it was to be kept at 50 feet, and now it says 100.
Yes.
Were you going to notify us of that at this meeting?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have notified you of that. Yeah.
Okay. My concern is this: we already have a law that outlaws a rooster, and I understand that. And basically, like, my main concern was always the rooster because some of them don't know how to tell time. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Coming in the neighborhood, my neighbors used to have that guy start singing at 3 in the morning. That wasn't good. But we already have a law that outlaws roosters. But I do have a concern. Most lots in my area are 50 by 100. So if somebody chooses to have a chicken coop on their property, as long as it's 50 feet from their neighbor, was understandable. But 100 feet is going to basically outlaw it. Yeah, now, my thing with the 100 feet is basically you're cutting them out, and those are the phone calls that I get. Right. In other words, you're going to cut me if you set it at 100 feet, you're going to cut me out. I can't have my chicken. Okay? At 50 feet, I still could. If I want to live with the scent of chickens close to my home, that's my deal. That's my prerogative. But if I have it within the 50 feet, I can still have my fresh chicken. You know, we still have the people that like to eat the fresh chicken.
Yeah, no,
And I just think that, you know, in it coming back, I'd appreciate if we could keep the language at 50 feet instead of 100.
if you care to approve the ordinance stating 50 feet, that's up to you all.
That's all I had.
Do I hear a motion?
So,
I'm sorry. Any comments?
No,
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, let me ask, are you approving the ordinance as written, or are you amending it to take
Well,
in?
what you're giving us includes the 100. I just wanted to make that amendment
Okay,
to keep it as the original was at 50 feet instead of 100.
fine, I'll make the change for so that,
Well, let's bring it up to. Yeah.
no, yeah, it's got to come in for second reading, and I'll just make sure that what's before you for second reading has the 50 feet rather than 100 feet.
Okay. Yes. Yes, sir.
I'd like to be corrected on this 50 feet deal. What are we talking about, 50 feet horizontal, vertical? What?
John?
What's the 50 feet?
Correct for my teacher.
Left or right, or from a house?
It's
My,
just-
my neighbor has a rooster, that's why.
Yeah, it says that you can't be within, with the amendment, 50 feet of any residence or building used for human habitation, other than the owner's home. In other words, the commissioner would be, if you want to have chickens within 20 feet of his house, that's fine, it's within his house, but it couldn't be within 50 feet of someone else's house.
So it would be a radius? Would that
Yeah,
be correct?
yeah.
A radius?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we talking about all fowl animals, like geese? I have a neighbor in the Galaxia that has several geese, and we can hear them for 2 blocks. There will be all birds?
All I can do is give you the ordinance.
No, but is this all birds?
No. Yeah, geese are in the ordinance.
Geese, my brother has pigeons. They make coo all night long, right next to the fence.
No,
Pigeons are in the ordinance also.
Okay.
The distance that he's talking about, that area would apply to any rabbit, guinea pig, pigeon, chicken, turkey, goose, duck, peafowl, or other fowl in any pen enclosure and so forth.
But the radius is the thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
the radius.
So you're giving a leeway to some people to have those animals still, as long as they're within the 25 feet, or not to pass the 50 feet of sound?
50 feet within the following home. That's what the ordinance read.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments in the public hearing?
Would you close?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Make a motion to approve 1063 with the correction on section B. It'd be 50 feet instead of 100.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Motion passes.
Item 8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2013-1586 to amend Chapter 308 floods of the Code of Ordinances by repealing the existing chapter, promulgating a new Chapter 308, and dealing with related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Commission, the item before you is to adopt a current floodplain prevention ordinance. The Texas Water Development Board conducted a community-assisted visit for the city of Brownsville, and the purpose of a community-assisted visit is to evaluate local floodplain management ordinances and enforcement practices to determine their effectiveness in accordance with the Federal Emergency Management National Flood Insurance Program regulations. The community-assisted visit included a driving tour of the city regulatory floodplain, a review of the city's floodplain management program, and a review of the floodplain damage prevention ordinance, and a meeting with the city floodplain administrator. Based on the visit, the city needs to adopt a current flood damage prevention ordinance to remain in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program. And this is the ordinance before you at this time.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Any comments?
Yep. Upon review, department staff's review of it, is there any language in there that would negatively affect people's insurances within the city of Brownsville?
not the way the ordinance is. The ordinance is basically what was there before. There's been some changes in how you identify, how you classify. It's the same floodplain, but the numbering nomenclature has changed. So it wouldn't be any different than what's already in place, except it's been updated to some new language. There has been a lot of recent calls from insurance companies and banks because they are getting a lot more stricter and to ensure that they are not within a floodplain area.
Any other questions or comments? Close public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, public hearing relating to the issuance of City of Brownsville, Texas Combination Tax and Airport Revenue Certificates of Obligation, Series 2013B, to finance certain improvements at the airport.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission, this is a public hearing to issue certificates of obligation for the airport to cover the local share of a grant and for Taxiway B. This is something that we've discussed with you in the past. It requires a public hearing because it's going to be through a private placement, meaning that we're going to go to certain banks and get sealed bids from them. And we probably won't take care of the pricing until December the 5th. And there is an ordinance, number 17, where we're going to ask you to delegate us, the city manager and me, to once the bids come in for us to choose the best bid for the city of Brownsville, so that and obviously that's what this, and it's a public hearing, and the amount that we are asking for the airport local share is $1,075,000. Again, this is a public hearing.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I noticed that this section is 9, but then you have action item 17. Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, I know that the airport's been taking a lot of grants, and we've been putting, I don't know how many millions of dollars into the airport. The airport, as a concerned citizen, is part, because we are going to issue, to pay for this, it's going to come out of the ad valorem tax rates?
Yeah, we get a grant of about $8,453,000. Our local share is at $1 million.
$1 million, but still, it's going to be paid by the taxpayers. That $1,075,000.
We are going to pay it out of the PFCs, passenger facility charges. It's not going to be part of the ad valorem tax.
No, so it's not part of the action item that I see on 17. You're saying
there's always in every ordinance that the city passes, there's always that language that would always include a revenue supporting, and the revenue supporting here is there's a property case in case the PFC doesn't come through. In this case, Mr. Brown has accumulated a lot of money under the PFCs, and that money is set aside to pay this debt that's going to be coming due.
Okay, since I don't know how much has been accumulated, so would that lower down the loan that we're going to be asking for?
This will go towards the payment of the principal and interest on the $1,075,000.
Okay, so we're still going to be, but the taxpayer still, in an indirect manner, will be putting some money.
Anyone who flies the airport, there is a charge, a facility charge that is charged to any air traveler. Whoever, it could be from out of town. The air traveler doesn't have to be from Brownsville, and there's a fee that's charged, and that money comes back to the city's airport, and that's how we're going to pay.
Part of it, not completely.
No,
That's the whole.
We're going to pay all of it.
With that.
With that PFC.
So that's what I'm asking this thing. If the PFC is going to pay for this, and I know you have to ask permission from the board to get permission to go to the banks and get this loan on a better interest rate and everything, but if PFC has the money there, then it won't affect.
Obviously, we don't have the $1 million. It comes in.
No, but I'm saying about paying back the money. That's all I'm saying.
This is going to be over a short period of time before we pay the entire obligation, yes.
Okay, because I just want to ask the members of the commission, remember, we've been putting a lot of money here, a lot. And the improvements continue to go there, but we still have not gotten to a point that the airport has paid itself. And we are also putting over so much between $800,000 and $1 million because we have to get it from the general fund to continue holding the airport. The airport needs to be more accountable, please. The airport, because we've been putting a lot of money, needs to be putting back some money back to the citizens and say, hey, they can be self-efficient. And that's what I'd like to ask the board. Please, to get in debt, it doesn't matter if somebody else is going to pay the PFC, the whole thing, but remember, it still comes back to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Any more comments or questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion to close public hearing?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
You approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 10, second public hearing on ordinance number 2013-1200.140 to accept a petition of annexation and the annexation of said property into the city limits of Brownsville and dealing with related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, any annexation ordinance requires two readings, two public hearings and two readings. So this is the second public hearing of the ordinance that you passed last time. But by law, we require a second public hearing. So I ask you that you open up public hearing and then vote on it.
This is a public hearing.
I'd like to tell the board here again, Robert Este, we annexed a lot of property on the last administration, and we went out of bounds. This property is, what property is this? Is this the...
This is a voluntary annexation, so the owner is voluntarily annexing. We are not.
Okay. And since it's voluntary, I can't say too much, but remember, we have annexed a lot of property around. And sometimes to have good neighbors, and it's nice to have a neighbor that says, please take me in under your wing at Brownsville. Because Brownsville does provide, has the fire department, has the police department. We have ambulance services, of course, provided by the city. But we have annexed a lot of other properties very far from Brownsville. And we can not providing that good security that needs to be provided. Especially some areas that were annexed near Harlingen, San Benito, Los Fresnos, Port Isabel area, down 281.
ETJ is a whole separate...
Yes, it is ETJ, but when we do annex, this person wants to be annexed, there's no problems. I'm not going to object that. If I wanted to come to Brownsville and say, yeah, annex me. But we will provide those services there. Are the services already provided by the city of Brownsville?
Yes. I mean, they're not obviously, no, this is outside the city limits currently, but with this ordinance today.
But we do have an agreement with Cameron County.
It will be inside the city limits.
Agreement with PUB and all the states.
Not PUB, Cameron County.
Cameron County, okay.
For emergency services.
Yes, I understand that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further comments, questions?
I'd like to make a second. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 11, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2013-046 to rezone from dwelling classification to general retail classification, 2 acres out of Block 3, Tract 4 of Wymore Lands, located at 6729 Paredes Line Road.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, this is obviously this is a zoning map. This, just so a locational, this is the Titan Tire facility, or now CK Technologies. This is Paredes Line Road. So we see a pattern, and we really don't want any residential development along Paredes Line Road, considering the future growth patterns in 550 and Paredes is somewhat industrial. You have an industrial park right here. So the P&Z affirmed this. They voted unanimously to allow to upzone this property to 4th commercial. I would say that I think slowly we're going to start seeing the same pattern go along Paredes line to 4th Commercial. So we agree with it. Staff recommends your approval.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Questions or comments?
I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 12, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2013-048-S to allow an apartment use in a general retail classification for Lot 4, Block B of Ridgeline Terrace, Section 1 subdivision located near East Alton Glore and Ridgeline Avenue.
This case is on Alton Glore and just past Stagecoach. It's an apartment complex that's already existing. They're proposing to add another 4 additional units in the back. And this is, if you want to go to the pictures. This is all 4th Commercial. There's some. This is a shopping center. I believe there's a pizza place in here and some other stuff. So, the next picture. And this is what it currently looks like. We had the P&Z voted unanimously to approve. We do feel there are some. This apartment complex came in under some old ordinances. Therefore, with this addition, they're going to be required some additional landscaping, some additional parking. So we feel that this will contribute positively to Alton Glore Boulevard, just given the additional improvements that you saw on the site plan. So P&Z recommends approval, and staff recommends as well.
Okay, this is a public hearing.
Close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 13, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2013-049 to remove the 033 overlay located near Central Avenue and McKenzie Road.
This is a case on McKenzie and Central Avenue. For some reason that Larry might be able to describe, this apartment overlay was put in place, but the commission, I believe, last year approved a removal of this overlay down here for a daycare facility and some apartments, and I think it's gone quite well. This is the same removal. It was a non-apartment overlay, so the owner approached us about removing this section as well. P&Z felt unanimously also voted to remove the overlay, and we recommend as well.
In support of it, there has been a lot of growth in that area when it comes to apartments and duplexes, and they did right. This is a very good area, and it's growing really quickly, and it is helping a lot.
Yeah, the owner did say there's been a lot of interest, but that this overlay was had a lot of concerns for people trying to buy it. So
It's a tremendous asset to my district.
Want to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 14, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2013-050 to remove a section of 20 acres out of 033 overlay located near Illinois Avenue and California Road.
This case is south of the airport, and this overlay district was really, it's a lot larger than this, but the overlay is meant to protect the runway at the airport and
expansion project,
and discourage development in that corridor. We worked with the airport. The owner approached us about he's having a lot of crime issues on his property, and he really wants to build. There's a Resaca back here, and he wants to build a home back here for himself. We worked with the airport. We approached the airport. This sits comfortably outside of the safe zone, and Larry agrees with this change. So, and P&Z also voted unanimously to approve the change, and we recommend it as well.
And it's going to be single dwelling?
Single dwelling.
On the 20 acres?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How many acres is going to be Rosaka?
I believe it's this property right here. So, I mean, it's going to require a long driveway to get back here, but that's why we own, this whole property sits in that overlay, but we only took out the rear portion.
And it's El Jardín water supply,
yeah,
septic system if he puts in his own, so he won't be requesting PUB or anything like that.
I'm not sure, but yes, I don't think so.
I don't want my teacher attacking me later on.
I'd like to close public hearing.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Public comment, Mr. Robert Uresti. Consideration and action to adopt ordinance number 2013-1583 to authorize the issuance, sale, and delivery of approximately $8.6 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2013A, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax and a pledge of certain surplus revenues of the city's municipal landfill system, and approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, a purchase contract, an official statement, and all other instruments and procedures related thereto.
I don't know, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission, there's a handout in front of you. Looks like this, that I would like to go over it with you on this presentation. If you look at page 2, the 2013A certificates of obligation will be to fund those projects that are listed, the sports park. These are all the domes, and this is local share for those shelters. We have 4 domes totaling $1,650,000. We have street construction and sidewalks. It also includes the walkways, the bicycle lanes, and all this. It's part of that, the $3 million. It also includes the vehicles, equipment for $300,000, and the police department radio system replacement, $3.4 million. Total around $8,350,000. Tonight, we're pricing this, meaning that we're selling the certificates of obligation tonight with the approval of the ordinance. If you go back to page where it says post 2013 on the schedule, it gives you the analysis how this debt, what we're issuing the $8.5 million for the just equipment that or project that were just mentioned. The AMT will come later through a private placement. And then you have later on, which is another ordinance, where we're also refunding some old bonds. As a result of refunding of these bonds, we are going to take some savings, and the present value of that savings by selling this refunding of old bonds is $1,138,128. So what we're doing with those savings, we're putting those savings in various years, and that's on column G. Like from $756,000, $886,000. Those are savings that are going to be generated through the refunding of some old bonds. That obviously cuts the debt service requirements when the payments are due each year. And again, we're going to be discussing the refunding at a later item, as well as the airport. We did go through a bond rating on the 7th and 8th of this month. We went through a conference call with the 3 rating agencies. They were Moody's, Fitch, and Standard & Poor's. The people that were participating in that conference call, we had Mr. Lupio Granado, he's our interim finance director. Gilbert Salinas also assisted us with BEDC. Larry Brown also assisted us, and Jorge Santillan, who's our budget officer. We obviously, when we meet with the rating agencies, it takes a while to come up with a presentation. It requires a few days to go over it. The good thing about it is that we always know what kind of questions they're going to be asking. So when we have a review with them, they're always very pleased with our presentations, because all the information that they normally would be requesting is here in this case, it was a PowerPoint presentation. So when normally the meeting's less than an hour, a conference call, they ask questions. They have some tough questions, but this makes it easier for them when they see the PowerPoint, because all the questions that they had is answered on the PowerPoint. We were also very fortunate that the rating agencies maintained the same rating as we had before. We have a AA3 with Moody's. We have a AA- and a AA- both with Fitch and Standard & Poor's. Some of the things that they cited on, and the ratings are there on that particular presentation. Some of the things that they look at positive for the city. We have a solid tax base. And one of the areas that they also mentioned, an experienced management team, members of a management team that have been here for a few years. They know what it is to issue debt, so they're very familiar with it. So that's a plus. One of the areas also they look at is conservative budgeting. We are very conservative when we do our budgets. They like that, because normally our budget shows worse numbers than what actually comes out at the end of the year in audit reports. So they like that. And again, we're maintaining a solid financial condition with strong reserves. Obviously, they like those strong reserves. Several years ago, the City Commission passed a fund balance policy where we are required to at least have a 15% reserves in our fund balance, and we have been very, very fortunate that we've been able to maintain those strong reserves. They indicate that there is a high debt, but at the same time, We have shown throughout the years that the debt is manageable. We are able to manage. We pay those payments as they come due. They also, if you look at the weakness of the city, obviously there's an average high debt. That's a little bit on the negative side, and the social economic profile. We do have a high unemployment at 7.3%, which is above. It's a double digit. Obviously, that's something we need to work on, because several years ago we had single digits. That's when the times were better than they are now. But slowly, we're working very hard to create more employment. I think that in the near future, we'll probably be coming to you with a plan, hire a company that will assist us to try to see if we can acquire retail businesses, restaurants. We're going to come to you, obviously, in the near future with this economic plan that we can come up with.
That's very exciting.
And how can we improve our rating? And it's going to be very difficult from now on to improve the rating, because obviously you need growth, a huge growth. Obviously, we need to improve with the financial. Even though we still have good, solid reserves, they want to see more reserves. As they see more reserves, obviously our credit rating goes up. And of course, they want to see that unemployment go down. They also want maybe the cost of living is a plus, but we do have poverty high rate here in the area. And they look at this. They know our area. They know the border. When we talk to them, they are very familiar with our areas, since we've been visiting them for several years. But the good thing about the rating is that we kept our ratings, a AA3 with Moody's, and a AA minus with both Standard & Poor's and Fitch. If you look at the ratings, because they have ranks, let's say that there are 10 ratings, and we were at the very bottom at one time. We were 8th on our rank from the bottom. There's 10. We were on the 8th. The last few years, and I'm talking about many years, because you're talking about in the late 80s, we were at Baa1. We have slowly climbed up the ladder, and we are now 4th from the top. So, and that's something that they look at, because the better the rating, the lower the interest rate. And when they buy the paper, they realize that the city is strong. They will be able to pay back. In the past, we used to buy insurance. Well, the insurance companies got into a mess with the mortgage problems, and some of those insurance companies are no longer in existence. So we're on our own, and so that means that the higher the rate, the better for the bondholder. The bondholder will be able to be more secure. They're secure. They say Brownsville is going to pay, and so that's very important for us to keep that rating where it is. And obviously, we don't want to lower it. Again, this is an ordinance that we are asking you to approve this evening.
I'll entertain a motion. Would approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Pete.
Item 17, consideration and action to adopt ordinance number 2013-1584 to authorize the issuance, sale, and delivery of approximately $1.1 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas combination tax and airport revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2013B, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax and a pledge of certain surplus revenues of the city's airport, and approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, a purchase contract, an official statement, and all other instruments and procedures related thereto.
Honorable Mayor, Member Pro Tem, City Commission members, as we discussed in the public hearing, this is going to be done through a private placement. They're taxable bonds, because the reason why it's called an AMT, Alternative Minimum Tax Bonds, and the reason why they're separate from the other series is because it's going to be used for private use. This is a taxiway at the airport. We know that there's private people that are going to be using the taxiway, so therefore that carries a little bit higher interest rate, a tax rate. One of the things that I would like for you to, when we approve this ordinance, for you to indicate that since this is a private placement, that you give us authority, either the city manager or me, to, when the final terms come up, which will be on the 5th of December, when the bids come in, that we will have the authority to choose the final terms upon those certificates that come in. And it's going to be through sealed bids through some of the banks. And again, we are asking you to authorize this ordinance.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
If you can just indicate that are going to give us authority for us, either just a motion from the city manager or myself, to approve final terms as the bids come in.
Everyone in favor?
Motion to allow?
Do you need a separate motion for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
To give us authority.
I'd like to make a motion to give you authority to move forward with that.
Right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 18, consideration and action to adopt ordinance number 2013-1585 to authorize issuance, sale, and delivery of approximately $14.8 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2013A, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax, approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent and registrar agreement, a purchase contract and escrow agreement, an official statement, and all other instruments and procedures related thereto.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission. Again, I discussed this earlier, the refunding bonds. We refund some of these old bonds. We have a present value savings of $1,138,128, and that's going to be spread over certain years so that we can, as the payments come in, the payment is not going to be that harsh for us to make. And again, we're asking you to approve these refunding bonds, which would obviously assist us in this particular issue.
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item
Thank you.
19, consideration and action on resolution number 2013-063 to authorize the execution of an amended agreement to contribute right-of-way funds for U.S. Highway 77 between the City of Brownsville and the Texas Department of Transportation to reflect the I-69E designation, eliminate the city's funding obligation, provide for reimbursement, and terminate the original contract.
Good evening. Due to the I-69E designation, the city is not required to provide any more funding for this project. Approval of this resolution would allow us to continue the process and ask for reimbursement, and also terminate the existing agreement. So approval is recommended.
We'll entertain a motion. So
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks.
Item 20, consideration and action to acknowledge the interim finance director's financial statements and cash investment report for the City of Brownsville for fiscal year ended September 30th, 2013.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and City Commissioners. They have a financial report on your desk, and you have a PowerPoint presentation. Also, you wish to follow or while on the screen here. We have the unofficial unaudited financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2013.
Yeah.
Some financial highlights: the unassigned fund balance in the general fund remains stable. Current report reflects a decrease of $391,000 on the unassigned fund balance, but there are some unrecorded revenues of $428,000 that will offset this decrease in the unassigned fund balance. Sales tax exceeds fiscal year numbers by 1.8%, or 0.79% above budget projections. Tax levy collections remain consistent to 2012 numbers. Utility expenditures are down by 1% to the same period last year. Hotel motel taxes have increased 2.58% compared to last fiscal year. Landfill tipping fees decreased for the general fund and the landfill in the amount of $147,000 and $282,000 respectively. Veterans Bridge has a significant decrease of $333,000 or 21.46% compared to last year. This is due because of the expansion that they have gone in this past year. Building permits have a slight decrease of 2.63% to the same period of last year. and unemployment rate through August 2013 is at 10.63%. It's lower than the calendar year 2012 and 2011. On here we have the sales tax comparison between 2012 and 2013. You'll see the actual increase of 154,000 or 1.82%. Here a bar graph representing the steady increase in the sales tax collections over the various years. Right here we have the sales tax comparisons of various cities, the general fund for the 12-month period ending December 30th. We have the bridge fund on here. We show that there's actuals have been decreased 333,000 or 21.45%. We show a history of the bar graph of the bridge fund payments. You'll see that for 2012, 2011, 2013, compared to the 2012-13 budget. We have the building permits for fiscal year 2012 and 2013. You see that almost to the levels of 2012, but there is a slight decrease of 2.63%. Show bar graph for the building permits for the fiscal year 2003 and 2013. BOB quarterly cash transfers, even though this schedule shows that there's a decrease in the BOB cash transfers, we did exceed budget expectations that were budgeted at $7,035,000. Unemployment rates since 1990 to present, you'll see that 2013, see from 2011, 2013, 2012, 2013, you see a steady decrease, but we're still not at single digits. We have a balance sheet for the general fund of assets of $36 billion, liabilities of $12 million, fund balance of $23 million, of which $446,000 is unreserved. The rest of them are assigned, combined, committed, restricted, or non-spendable. This schedule shows a general fund balance, budget summary. You have beginning fund balance, your revenues, your expenditures. We estimated the assigned fund balance to be at $14,132,000, which is 14.16%. As you see earlier, that's more than that. We got statement of revenue summaries based on the different categories. This is a pie chart of all where the revenues are coming from. As you'll see, the main one is sales tax of 26.34%, property tax followed by 25.8%, and fines and services at 17.69%. Here's the details of all the budget versus actual. We actually collected $95,388,650. This is a pie chart of all the expenditures. Majority of the expenditures are incurred by public transit, followed by general government and culture and recreation. This is the statement of revenue expenditures. You see that towards the bottom we had a excess revenues over expenditures, $2,181,000, added to the beginning fund balance of $20,960,000. You have a total fund balance of $23,521,000, but the amount that should be noted is the $14,446,000. That's the total unassigned fund balance, which of course it's going to increase by $420,000, which of revenues have not been recorded yet. General fund unassigned fund balance bar graph. Again, this bar graph right here should be about the same as 2012 once we record the unrecorded revenues. This is excluding general fund balance excluding reserves. You see that 2012 we had 16.63% of the expenditures percentage. This amount is the one that Ms. Gonzalez was referring to. The fund balance policy requires that we have 15%. Noting that this amount is going to increase by $420,000, we're going to be more in the realm of the previous years of $14,800,000 plus, which should be definitely above the 15%. This is another comparison of fiscal year fund balances. This is a detail. It's hard to see it here. It's easier to see it on your handout. This is This is all the fund balances that are either assigned, all the details, the beginning assigned fund balance and the increases committed, same thing, and the restricted, all the details of those fund balances that are designated reserved. Convention and Tourism Fund, right now, as the time of the financials were presented, we showed a negative 43,000 due to hotel motel tax coming in afterwards. This amount is gonna be increased by $165,000. Basically, $165,000. Basically, these revenues are collected in the month of October, November, but we need to recognize them in September. They're just trickling in. Community Development Fund has a fund balance of $901,707. Non-bonded debt had a slight increase in their fund balance to $11,778,000. Non-bonded debt service has a fund balance of $3,718,000. Landfill fees, we show a significant decrease on the landfill fees. This is because we had a major equipment purchases throughout the year that's needed in order to continue operation at the landfill, but it still has a fund balance of $355,408. Airport fund, right now the revenues exceed expenditures by $852,000. This is attributable to there was an additional $500,000 transferred last year to cover a deficit that was as a last fiscal year. They also had unexpected revenues of $120,000, and they didn't spend as much money as they thought they would. Bridge fund, you show that there's a fund balance of $721,000. Motor vehicle parking systems, a slight decrease in operations. Public transit, as you know, this fund operates in a deficit of $3,157,000, of which 50% is covered by the Transit Authority. The other 50% is made up by other miscellaneous revenues, including the state operating assistance and general fund transfer. Brownsville Golf Course has a positive balance of $85,166. Medical insurance fund. Right now we have a positive revenues over expenses $75,000. Please note that this amount is going to be seriously decreased because we do record for expenditures. Usually this might be in the realm of about $1 million of claims that were incurred as September 30 but need to be recorded that were actually paid in this fiscal year. These are two ARA grants that have been completed, and the summary of the investments, a total of cash, CDs, and pools of $72 million, less the amounts and other entities, City of Brownsville investments, $54,647,000. Have any questions?
Do I hear a motion?
I move to acknowledge.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Lupe.
Item 21, consideration and action to authorize the City Commission's second meeting for the month of December 2013 to be held on December the 10th, 2013.
Okay, on this, the commission and staff was polled to see what would be more convenient to conduct city business. And the majority, if not everyone, agreed to hold meetings on the first and second Tuesday of December. So that's the motion that's on the floor.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Purchasing items. Item number 22, consideration and action to award a contract for demolition of 9 condemned dilapidated structures for the Building Inspections Department.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission. This item was tabled on November the 5th. Consideration and action to award a contract for demolition of 9 condemned structures for the Building Inspections Departments to MR Construction and Demolition of Mission, Texas. The low responsibility for a total bid of $85,110. The administration of this Building Inspections Department concurs with this recommendation.
I'd like to say something.
Sure.
Thank you. I know that, Mark, you explained some of the issues with this, but I am still a little uneasy about not being able to bid to, or give the bid to a local business, given that we have 3 local companies of the 5, with 2 that are very well within. So for $1,000 to $2,000 difference, I feel, well, yeah.
We'd refer that to, obviously, Mr. Cardenas came at the last meeting and noted that. It was a legal question that we referred to our city attorney. They have met. Our city attorney's recommendation and opinion is that that it does not apply, and we refer this to the lowest viable bidder. We need to understand these are 9 homes that we're trying to demolish that are considered unsightly locations that people have concerns about, homes that we need to get out of the location because of their condition, and it is being paid for by community block grant funds. So we need to decide on this pretty quickly because of the federal funds that are being utilized. If not, if we table this again, then we need to seriously consider reserving this funds for other items and taking this on as a cost to the city.
Mr. Kepler, if you don't mind, Commissioner, also, I'd like to hear from Stephanie. Would you please come in? Stephanie, the last thing I want to be caught in is in a situation like we've been caught up in the last year, where because decisions were made and we need to pay back the money to the government. So my question to you is, if you can please give us an answer. If we go with if we invoke a local preference, it's not telling us to invoke a local preference, but if we choose as a commission to invoke the local preference, will we not be meeting statute, and will we be required, probably if we take that action, to use this money to pay it back?
We may be non-compliant.
We'll be non-compliant.
We may be non-compliant. And in addition to that, the biggest concern that I have is that this project has been significantly delayed. It's $2012. So, we're about a year behind. So my urgency is that we do get this table. We did get with legal department. We did read through the federal regulations and got some more guidance, and we're pretty confident that we should make the decision for the lowest, most responsible bidder.
I have a question. If the commission does decide that we would rather go with a local company, what would happen to these funds?
Well, nothing would happen to the funds. Well, if the HUD were to come in and issue a finding, then we would repay these funds.
Okay.
Now, again,
in other words, we have to pay that money out of our general fund.
Correct. It's got to be non-federal source, so it would come out of general fund.
And is another finding against us from HUD?
Yes. And a complaint has already been filed to the HUD field office, so this is on their radar. So we want to be very careful with the decision.
I think there's somebody behind you who wants to say something.
I'm sorry?
There's somebody behind you that wants to speak.
Good.
Oh,
It's not a public hearing.
sorry.
Like I said, my comment is just because over the last year, we've already had to pay because of somebody else's mistakes over the previous years, and money's not being spent. Like you said, this is $2,012. You can make the decision you want. Like I said, I don't want to have another red flag with HUD, and I don't want to have to cause the taxpayers of this city another $85,000 to $90,000 because we decided. I mean, if this is what she's telling us, I'm taking her on her word that this is what it is. Of course, we always invoke the local preference.
I just feel weird because I know there's something that needs to be said, and I'm not hearing it. And that.
Well, if
I didn't hear you.
I feel like somebody needs to say something, and I don't know what he's trying to say, and I would like to know before I make my opinion.
You've got an email from her?
I have not received the email.
And provided a hard copy of the memo on your dais in front of you, Commissioner.
I can reference the CFR if you'd like, Commissioner.
Can he say something? Can he speak? I mean, I have a question.
It's up to John.
Can I hear what he has to say?
Does the majority of the commission agree? I mean, it's not a public. We
cut and dry.
I know at least with me, I reached out to purchasing. I saw the rules that CDBG sets. Normally, we could go with local preference. Both businesses are minority owned. The lowest bidder is a woman-owned business. I mean, my biggest concern is our standing with HUD. We're trying very hard to get back into good standing.
I agree with you.
Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I feel like I didn't have.
What's your ground on abstention? Abstention is if it involves you. It doesn't involve you.
I'm abstaining because I haven't read the letter from legal.
Then you vote against, not abstain.
I'm going to abstain.
So we have 3 ayes. Do we have a fourth?
Nay.
You do realize what this does?
When's the deadline to spend the money?
Well, that's incorrect. We were funded in 2012, and we have our timeliness ratio. We have a whole action plan filled out with milestones. If we fall behind, we risk the exact thing that we did this past July and losing all funds above the expenditure ratio. I mean, you understand we've gone through this 2 times in a row, and we told HUD Washington to their faces that we would not allow this to happen again.
These are not regular city funds.
So
They're
it
CDBG
for sure
funds.
affects our reputation with HUD as far
Yes.
as having to pay it back.
All of our projects are very important to fixing in our reputation with HUD.
Okay. Then I will vote yes.
I'm sorry?
I will change my vote to yes.
To an aye?
So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 23, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 10 police patrol vehicles for the Brownsville Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. We recently went out on bids to acquire 10 new police patrol cars, and based on the quotes presented, the Police Department is recommending the lowest responsive bidder out of Colorado County for 10 2014 Chevy Caprice police units. And based on the purchase of the 10 vehicles, expenditure of $274,570 will be funded through budget code 28311-943 federal forfeiture funds. We request that you approve this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Item 24, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 1 new 2013 milling machine for the Public Works Department.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, City Commissioners, this is an item that was brought to you 2 weeks ago on November the 5th of this year, and it was tabled at staff's request. At that time, staff wanted some additional time to evaluate other options in terms of both the equipment and the pricing. As is always the case, the goal here is to provide the best overall value to the city. Since that time, staff has reviewed some details, and 3 different pieces of equipment from different manufacturers have been brought to the Public Works yard for evaluation and demonstration. Public Works has had demonstrations from Holt Caterpillar, from Nueces Power Equipment, and from Anderson Equipment Company there at their yard. Based on these evaluations and demonstrations, staff is recommending the purchase of a new 2013 Wirtgen milling machine from Nueces Power Equipment, and considers this to be the best overall value to the city. I'll note that this purchase includes a $95,000 credit for the old milling machine, as well as an outdated motor grader. So with that in mind, the recommendation of staff, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 1 2013 milling machine for the Public Works Department to Nueces Power Equipment of San Benito, Texas, in the amount of $354,600. This also includes a 4-year full machine warranty, and this procurement reflects HGAC contract pricing. Funding for this procurement is available under GO Fund account 87-417-942, machinery equipment. The Brownsville Public Works Department administration concurs with this recommendation. And you have some new equipment that's been provided to you, which is just additional detail beyond what was already in your packet. And if you have any questions, Mr. Santana Torres is here along with me from Public Works Department to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Torres, we will not have to be purchasing lowboys if it's within the current, what you have in stock right now?
Yes, sir. It will fit. It does meet the capacity weight on our
On our roads?
that
And
we have right now.
let's say if it were to work on an alley or on a cul-de-sac, the machine is big enough or small enough to be able to turn and maneuver and be able to work?
This machine actually has a 60-degree turning radius on the boom, which the other ones didn't have that feature. And it did have a radius of 45, and the other one was 40. So this is a much better radius on this machine. Yes,
How are the teeth on it?
I believe the teeth should be brand
They're
new,
brand new.
on this. Yes,
You'll
sir.
be brushing them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Item 25.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Item 25, consideration and action to request authorization to renew term contract for the purchase and delivery of limestone material for the use of the Public Works Department.
Good evening, Pro Temp, City Commissioners. Tonight, we're requesting your approval to renew a term contract for the purchase and delivery of limestone material from Vulcan Materials out of Brownsville, Texas. The city will exercise the option to extend the term of this contract for the last 12 months of this extension of the original quoted prices. Funding is available from the general fund, account number 01-417-743, and CO fund, account number 82-417-743, materials.
Approved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Before we adjourn,
Thank you.
I'd like to give the commission the opportunity to say a few words, if you'd like, for Thanksgiving.
I'd like to start off by wishing everybody, all our employees, and everybody from the city of Brownsville, happy Thanksgiving. May you have a safe holiday with you and your families, and for all the children that are going to be out for BISD, please behave and don't give your parents a hard time while you're going to have the whole week off. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I'd like to echo that and say happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Enjoy your families and remember to be active while you enjoy that delicious food.
Yes. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving as well. And remember not to eat too much turkey.
I'm not going to remember that. I just want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving and remind everybody to just reflect and be thankful for all of the things that we do have and stop focusing on all the things that we want or don't have, and just take time to reflect and enjoy your family, and just take a breath and just remember, as bad as you think you have it, you're actually a very blessed person to just be walking this earth. And so happy Thanksgiving. And eat turkey. Don't diet. That's bad idea.
Thank you all. I'm also going to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. All our citizens, everyone out there watching or here. I'm very thankful and grateful to our city staff and to my fellow commissioners and mayor for dedicating so much time to our community. And thank you all, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Adjourn?
All in favor?
No.